Namaste everybody, welcome to thefoundationmethod.com. I'm Cam, I'm the host of the program, and welcome back to this little episode, number 3 on prop use, yoga prop use, how to support your body in the asana practice. And today's episode is about my favorite of the yoga props, the Yoga Bolster. This little guy here. So nice, so cuddly. So in this episode, I'm just going to go through what is a Yoga Bolster, what sort to use if I don't have one or I can't get one because I'm waiting for mine that I've ordered online after Cam's video to arrive. What sort of bolster I should use in my practice. Why we should use that particular bolster, where I can buy one. Of course, I'll always give you links in the description. How to use your bolster, and then how to use your bolster in a basic yoga class. Usually we use them in a yin class, but they can be valuable for some more gentle style yoga classes and restorative yoga, just to name a few. So let's get into it. What is a yoga bolster? So this little guy here, and I'll show you some nice little videos. A bolster is a long, firm, narrow, often cylindrical cushion or pillow placed under pillows for support on a bed or a sofa. And a yoga bolster is a popular yoga accessory used to provide comfort and support for postures and increase stretching during restorative postures and deep breathing exercises. So nice little definition of what a bolster is. So what do you use if you don't have one of those little guys like I do? Pillows, so just bed pillows or a couple of pillows so that they can feel like firm and give you a bit of a lift. Cushions, so if you've got a couple of decent cushions or long body shaped cushions are a good addition. Blocks with a towel, so if you're coming straight out of your vinyasa class and you're lying there in your sweat and all you've got is your towel, your yoga mat and a couple of yoga blocks, then you can make do with that. And then also rolled up blankets, which usually in a yoga studio they might have access to blankets if they don't have bolsters, or if you've got some blankets at home. And a body pillow, if you've got one of those on your bed, that's actually perfect. So all of those things can be used. What sort of bolsters should I use? So cylindrical yoga bolsters are constructed with a durable organic cotton outer covering and filled with an environmentally friendly stuffing called kapok. Now these are the ones that I recommend that the Yoga King sells in Brisbane. And I've seen a lot of different sorts of bolsters. I'll go into why this particular sort is good in a minute, but I've seen ones that are kind of like flat bottom with a dome top. I've seen really chunky ones which are really uncomfortable to lie on. You want it to be able to be about the height from the base of your bum to the center of your sacrum, so that when you place it at the lower sacrum and you lie back, it feels quite comfortable there. So some of the bigger ones aren't really suitable, or at least having access to one of the ones that I'm describing here is much more preferable. About 75 centimeters in length and 27 centimeters in diameter. The weight, solid but practical, around 2.5 kilos, with removable cotton for easy washing. So that's important. You don't want your bolster to have the stuck outside on it, because they get a bit lived in if you use them a lot, especially if you're tag teaming like I used to after a hot vinyasa class and then coming into your yin class, you're a bit sweaty. You want to be able to wash them afterwards, and so bringing a towel for your studio practice can be really beneficial as well. So why should I use that particular bolster? So I talked a little bit about why the other sizes or bigger or smaller sizes might not be suitable, and aiming for one that kind of suits your body dynamics, and generally that 75 centimeter 27 diameter suits most body sizes. But if you're a smaller size, smaller frame, smaller torso, of course scale it down. You want it to kind of fit comfortably from the chin to the pelvis, so that then it can also fit underneath from the sacrum, support the head potentially, or support the head to lean back. I like it to support the head and underneath the sacrum fully, and then you can adjust it if you need be. So torso size, firmness depends on your specific needs for the class and your body. So in my experience, semi-firm to firm is the best. All-round usage is it's easy to get pillows and towels and blankets and stuff like that if you need to support for more gentle needs, like if you've got an injury, or you know, your neck doesn't feel so good, or you're just doing it for comfort. And you know, the reason bolsters are my favorite of the yoga props is because you know, they're a big part of feeling really comfy, really safe in a yoga class. And that's really important for something like yin. You want to increase the feeling of safety during the class there, so that then your body can really relax and you can get that restorative reset on the nervous system beyond just the physiological effects. So using bolsters that make you feel safe, feel like you're home. I think I've said this before in another video, but I will say it now. Think of your bolsters and your yoga props as an extension of the people who love you the most. So when you think about the people who love you the most in your life, they give you the most support, they make you feel mostly yourself, you can relax more around them, you feel more able and capable to sort of reach up and achieve your goals, and you feel uplifted by the people who love you the most. And that's how you want to feel with your props, especially your bolsters. You want to feel really yummy when you're getting into them. So if you do connect with a softer one, just bear in mind you might need to use some blocks and stuff like that if you're using it as a raised seat later on for some of the exercises that I'll show you. So yeah, no harm in having a few different bolsters available, at different density and softness for different purposes during your practice as well. And I'll talk about them in a different episode on head pillows and eye blankets and all that type of stuff. So why should I use a bolster? Leaning into what I just said then about feeling safe, feeling home, feeling friendly, feeling like you're friends with your bolster. One of the best things that I experience in a yin class is giving my bolster a really good, generous cuddle after a really horrible day, and it makes me feel like I'm really nurtured and supported. So it really connects with my inner child, if you've heard about that type of stuff before. Or it just makes you feel safe, makes you feel like you're at home, and that's when you know it's doing its job really well. Increase range of movement and reach. So being able to you know, get into postures, for example, placing it underneath the hand in a lunging position, so that then you can, you know, get you upright and sit up nice and straight, so you can use gravity and your body weight to deepen the stretch in the lunge. So that might be a reason that you could use that. Assisting anatomical shortcomings. So if you've got, you know, really short arms or short legs or short torso, it can help you get relaxed in mostly those yin postures we'll use it for, but it can help you with that stuff there. Allowing me to feel the posture before it's in my reach, or allowing me to access something. So for example, if you're doing reclining hero's pose, which is a straddled posture, you can kind of place the bolster up on the wall. You'll see a lot of people do that. So if you've got really tight quads and you can't lie down on your back easily in between your feet in that reclining position, then this will give you access so that the body can relax naturally and open it up in time. Intensify posture, so it helps you feel an intensity in the posture, so it increases the sensation. So if you're in a Sphinx posture on your elbows, you can place it underneath the rib cage, and that gives you a bit of a lift, or you can take your elbows up onto the bolster itself, and then that'll deepen the back bend. So if you're not getting any sensation, it can help you achieve the work of feeling the sensation in a posture. It can help you modify a posture. So modify or intensify, so both of those ends of the spectrum. So if you want to make it stronger, as I spoke in the Sphinx example, or modify it, you can make it more accessible, a little easier in the reclining hero pose example that I gave you before. Assist in stability. So generally I'll use a bolster when I'm pretty stable, like when I'm in a yin class and I'm on my back for most of it, you know. But things like a fall and split, which I'll demonstrate a little bit later on, really does help to support. So it puts a support underneath the glute, so it helps you be able to stay in that fall and split position and comfortably relax the rest of your body. Create comfort and safety in yin, so it comes back to that feeling safe again. Does it increase the safety feeling? And for the purpose of yin yoga, the relaxing style of yoga, I really do want to culture that sensation of yin so that my nervous system can really relax and my body can hit that kind of reset button. Allowing the other muscles to release and deepen relaxation, so that goes in line with that thinking. Safety with injuries. So if you're injured and you need some support so that then you don't overstretch or over release in a situation where the body needs to stay static, you can use them to bolster yourself up and prop yourself up there, hence the term yoga prop. So of course we can get these at Yoga King. That's the guys that are supplying most of the Brisbane studios. You'll see the one just like this one. He's got his little Yoga King logo on him there, and yeah, they unzip over here, so it's easy to take that off, and you'll notice on the inside is that kapok stuffing cotton wrap there, so you can wash those guys as well. And then there's also the link to the EMP Industries, and they sell more in bulk if you're interested in getting there. But I'll give you all the links in the comments. So how do you use your bolster? Lots of different ways. The more creative you can get, the better. I've heard yoga teachers say just go and grab as many bolsters as you can and then make your own sort of nest in the studio. I recommend it. If you haven't done it before and you haven't built yourself a bolster cubby house, you haven't lived, in my opinion. So yeah, get amongst it. Having access to a few different bolsters and getting creative with how you bring it into your practice, using it intuitively, like a cuddle blanket or a buddy, can really bring ways of using the bolster that I'd never thought of, and I love watching my students get really creative with it. But you could use it underneath your elbows. So if you're in a puppy pose and you take the elbows onto the bolster and stretching in a prone position, lying down, underneath the foot when you're lifted, so you can lie on your back and take them underneath your knees or your feet in a lying down position, behind the head, behind the neck, underneath your bum, so you can get a hip lift and get access to a rec fem stretch. Underneath the back is primary position, where I like to use my bolsters. So you can either use it lengthways, so you pop the torso down there and in line with the spine, or you can turn it to the side like a T-bar underneath the shoulder blades or underneath the lower back or the middle back. Lots of different options depending on the posture, and underneath the belly as well. And again, you can turn it sideways to have it underneath, and I'll show you an option in a moment with frog pose. And then how to use my bolster in a basic yoga class. So started with 3 different versions of seating. So predominantly the yoga bolsters are really good, so you can get a great comfortable seat, and then you can sit for a long time in meditation and your legs don't go numb, so or they go less numb. So seated meditation's the first one. So we're turning it in a T-bar shape down on your mat, and you're sitting in that, crossing the right leg in front of the left, and then the hands on the top of the knees, palms up, just in the lotus position there. So a very comfortable seat. I love that one because the knees are below the hips and just allows me to feel really open. It gives me a lovely neutral posterior tilt in my hips as well. The bus stop is the next one. So this one's great for some of the seated yin positions, because you can be in a seated position with access to the elbows for things like, thinker's pose or where's my wallet, which is one of my favorite little yin postures, which I'll show you later on in a podcast all about yin. But the bus stop is 2 middle turned blocks, placing the bolster on the top in the T-bar position and sitting on that so that you have access to the elbows and the knees. The knee lift with the blocks. So this is where we turn it in line with the spine position, straight up and down the yoga mat, and placing the blocks either on the flat side or the top on the medium side. And then you place the bolster on the top there to give the hips a lift so you can kneel comfortably. So that gives you access to doing lots of shoulder stretches and feeling really supported there as well. So next is the lunging section. So ragdoll, or you could use this at the start of a vinyasa class. You can have your bolster next to your mat, and you can bring in the bolster periodically. But usually use it in yin class, and that's what I'm doing here in this ragdoll demonstration, turning it sort of crossways over the belly. And what that does there is that kind of puts some pressure onto my belly and even towards my sternum. So when I'm breathing, I get that really palpable massage down my spine, and it helps elongate the spine by actually getting a lot more connection of belly to thigh. I can get belly to thigh because I've got quite a deep hamstring stretch, but for those that can't, or those that have sore quads or tight hammies, really useful prop there. Dragon lunge, back knee lift. So in your dragon lunge, so a low lunge position, taking the bolster underneath the back knee or taking it underneath the back foot can then work a little bit more into your hip flexors, give you some support if you've got, like, you know, painful knees. So you can use it as, you know, support on your mat if you've got pressure pain. So I've got Osgood Slatus, which is where the bones grow together and sort of pushed out the knee bone underneath the patella, and so it makes it quite sensitive. So having a bolster to place underneath my knee can be really useful. And then the low lunge support. So this is one of the cuddling positions. I love this one. So in your low lunge position, you can take it next to you and hold it. You can rest your armpit on it, depending on your height and your size. But that's a really good way of, rather than using your blocks. And again, we're increasing the sense of safety, helping you stay upright so you can use gravity to do the posture. But it's, yeah, just increasing that yumminess of yin, of using the bolster there. Next one, so supine twist underneath the knee. So lying on the back, knee to the chest, roll it over to the side, placing the bolster underneath the knee so that you're not over rotating. And you can also put a block under that if you're still quite tight. Next is a T-bar underneath the shoulder blades. So turning it crossways and then taking shoulder blades directly onto the bolster and the arms up and over there. And that's a lovely thoracic stretch there and create some length in the neck. You can also put a block underneath the back of the neck if it's too deep around the neck stretch. Half pigeon is the next one. So that one's just giving your main glute max a big stretch, and then you can cuddle it underneath the chest there so that you're not deepening, and then you can kind of square your hips by wriggling side to side. So it's a nice adjust in a very challenging posture for some people. And deer pose. So deer pose is where we're getting the side of the hip up to the bolster and then we twist onto it. So that's getting us into more of a deep twist, and then working into the side, the piriformis and the glute med as well, side of the glutes. Pec minor stretch, so working to the chest. I love this one because I can cuddle my head into it and take the passive shoulder under the bolster, and then I can go for a little half lotus with my legs, so that then the skeletal lock of the half lotus is holding me there, and I don't need to use my twisting muscles to put my leg behind me and deepen the stretch into the pec and the pec minor. Now the frog pose, manduka. So two little options here. The first one, very simply, find your manduka, your adductor stretch, and then place the bolster directly underneath the tummy. And so it's a really nice way to release. But the next one, if you have sore knees or you have tender meniscus in the knees and you're worried about, again, overstretching there, so you don't want to overstretch, you can place it directly underneath knee to knee, underneath the thighs, and it'll keep that lift there. And it also feels really nice there that your knees feel really quite well supported. Sphinx posture. So we're on our tummies. We've got the elbows underneath the armpits, their hands out the front like the Sphinx of Egypt, and then option to squeeze the bolster underneath the rib cage there, and that helps give you a bit of lift so that you don't get kind of sag around the shoulder blades. Also, it's just increasing that sense of safety in my experience, and you can intensify the posture with the elbows on top of the bolster. Hip lift underneath the bum. So this is primarily a hip flexor stretch, very gentle hip flexor stretch for the rec fem usually, which is the muscle that intersects from the quads into the torso. That's the big fat one on the side of the hips. And so when you slide that underneath the bum there and point the toes to the sky, you'll get the rec fem lift, rec fem activation. And if you turn the toes out to the side, you'll work more of the adductors and the superficial front line fascial release. So using it as a head support and a hamstring hammock. So if you've got really tight hammies or a really short strap and you have the strap behind your head and you feel like you're releasing but you're worried about your neck, or you have neck injury or your neck can be tender, then you can slide the bolster under so that then it stops it from over releasing there, and it gives you that sense of safety as well. The fallen split. So this is a good one. We've got it in a like a bus stop style situation, or the knee the kneeling situation, over to the side of the mat, about a fist distance away from the hip. And then from a lunging position, you extend the front leg forward. And then once you feel the splits engage, you lean to the side and then fall over the front there. So that's a really good way of supporting yourself into that split range, which probably wouldn't be as accessible if you didn't have your bolster or something comfortable to release, because I've tried it on blocks and it just feels horrible. So next is Janusz Asana, so head to knee. You'll notice that I've taken it across my front thigh and across the knee on the outside, so that when I lean forward on my tummy, what it does is both ends of the bolster get pressed down, and so I intensify the hamstring stretch of the leg that's forward, and then I intensify the opening of the knee that's out to the side. So it's just a good way of deepening that one just with your body weight. Wide-legged forward fold. So that's one of my favorites. So the first option is to take a block on its tall side underneath the bolster, so that when you lean forward, if you've got access in that range there, then you can just release and cuddle the bolster. If you don't, what you can do is place a second block on the top and then rest the forehead onto the block and the arms out in the front. So that's one I see a lot in the rooms, especially people with really tight hamstrings or tight lower back. And the third is the cuddle, the famous cuddle. So turning it the opposite way, pulling it into the chest and giving it a nice snuggle. And that one is great after a really bad day at work. That one's going to make you feel awesome. Final three, so we've got the legs up a wall. So two options there. You can slide underneath the bum just to give the lower back a bit of support, change the angle of the lower back. Some people really find that a lot more accessible for your Viparita Karani or your waterfall or legs up a wall pose. And the other option is to take it on the soles of the feet, so that then it presses the sacrum down into the floor. So it's just a little bit of a weight, but over time it's just a really nice way of getting that whole flat lumbar spine section. And the last two we've got is the reclining hero, which is the quad stretch there. So you'll notice here I can do it in two ways. One, I can put two sets of blocks, one sideways and then one on its tall end, and then I can stack the bolster there. I've got a couch, so I can put it up next to my couch, or you can put it up next to a wall if you've got tight quads. And then you're pulling the muscles to the side as you sit in between your calf, and then recline back onto the bolster there. It's a nice way to get that extended release. And the final, last but not least, my favorite of the yin postures, and especially for a bit of bolster support, is the reclining goddess pose, or reclining butterfly. And so this one just right snug up on the sacrum and pulling the shoulder blades together as you lie back on there, and you can literally melt away there for hours. Really important posture to feel, especially if you suffer from anxiety, panic attacks, waves of fear, uncertainty, unsafety, too much yang, too much drive, too much push in your life. This is a really good resetting posture, and a bolster really helps me get access to that, and so I can open up the front line and feel comfortable to be vulnerable and to be open. So it's a really useful posture, and without a bolster I'd never have got access to some of those feelings that I get there. So thank you, Bolster. You're awesome. So yeah, there's some links in the comments there that you can click on and go and get yourself some bolsters, or build a bolster cubby house if you feel inclined. Any questions, just send me a message, and don't forget to come through to thefoundationmethod.com and do my free training 1-hour webinar on there, where I explore the 6 biggest problems and 6 high quality solutions, and took me most of my life to put together, that helps you navigate your wellness journey. And then there's the options there for me to mentor you with my Foundation Method program. And then there's a group coaching session or a one-on-one session. And again, the premier transformation, which is the core belief balancing work, which will give your life a significant shift change. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you there. Please subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you on your mat cuddling your bolster really soon. Namaste.